It feels good to be back. I'm excited for a lot of reasons. This is our first recording in 2 or 3 weeks. Sorry, we had some technical difficulties. We were not able to produce some lights out content for half of a month. But I'm excited we're back. I'm also excited because Falcon Winter Soldier just kicked off. But that is also not the main reason why I'm excited. You guys want to know why I'm excited?
Why are you excited?
That haircut, Matt. You gotta give us a twirl. I'm super excited for it.
Big boy just turned 25.
Yes. Falcon Winter Soldier dropped on your birthday. Big shout out to you. You've
Best
helped us
gift.
carry this series so far. Lots of new things coming. So Matt, you just basically said you felt this is a really good pilot, or it was
Yeah.
good to open up this way. So just overall, like, what in this pilot worked?
So something I really liked, I mean, the episode kind of kicks off with, some straight action right off the bat. So that was definitely cool. The cinematography was great. Really kind of sucked you in for those 5 minutes or so. But then, we get to see the struggles that both the characters are going through. So, Sam has his struggles, and then we see Bucky, having his troubles with the nightmares still. It's set up more so kind of like their underlying issues. So obviously Bucky, he has his list of people that he's trying to kind of get back at for what they did to him as his time as a Winter Soldier. And then we can see that Sam has a bunch of issues with Sarah, kind of with like the little family business that they have going on.
Yeah.
So kind of torn between two worlds, their personal life and their professional life.
I really like to see also just kind of like in WandaVision, like the aftermath of all like the big stuff we saw in the last 10 years. How, at the end of the day, they're all still technically human. Some of them are, but they have those day-to-day struggles that we all see. And it's really nice to see like Sam's family finally getting introduced. And, it's like, yeah, they just won the big battle against Thanos, but they're still going to be struggling. They have to do their day-to-day. Bucky he's one of like my favorite side characters in general. So it's nice to see, well, not nice to see him like deal with all this stuff, but like to see the conflict and like how he will have to resolve it moving forward. These two characters definitely deserve more detail and attention after they were completely outshined for the last 5 years. Yeah, I'm excited to see what else they do moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a pretty awesome first episode, considering I think it was one of the shows I wasn't really looking too forward to that much. But like Matt said, the opening scene was just packed with action. I really liked that, getting back to, Marvel's way. And then I thought it was interesting how they opened up with Bucky, with him with this therapist. We're starting to see a little pattern right now with these shows and how they focus on mental health and mental issues. So I do like that. When it came down to the list, I'm interested to see, how many names get crossed off the list in this, first season. It'd be interesting to find out. And I did like how Matt said, and Tim both pointed out how like each character are dealing with things, on their own, and most of it is related to the blip. So I really like how they are showing life after, and you can kind of get contextual clues as to what was happening during the blip for a lot of people. And I really think that terrorist group that, really thrived during the blip, I think they're going to be a, major key going forward in this episode. This show.
Yeah. So what you just referenced to, they're called the Flag Smashers, and their main motive is to, as they did explain in the episode very well, very briefly, but like they want a world without borders. The world was better without half the population missing, in their opinion. That's probably like a control thing for them. They had more control with less government and military down their asses. So they're trying to restore the order they had. I think it was in this episode there was a reference where there was like, you have no idea what it was like during the blip.
I think that was like Falcon's sister.
Yes.
Talking about like all the, everyone was gone and she had to kind of take care of her
Yes,
two kids
yes.
and run the business. Because like while everyone was fighting the baddies, like life still went on for her, and it was just 5 years for them, but those 5 years felt like 5 minutes to the people who were in the blip.
Then that's what they showed us in WandaVision with Monica, where she's just like coming out of reality. I think that's the first time they showed people like coming out of the blip.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
WandaVision. So that was like 3 weeks after the blip. I believe this
Mhm.
takes place 6
6
months
months.
after
Yeah, it was a few
after
months.
Endgame. So
That gives us a timeline on what's going on right now and where we are.
Yeah.
I just want to kind of ask you guys, what did you think of Bucky's relationship with the old man? I forget his name off the top of my. I think
Oh,
it's Yuri.
Yeah,
What do
Yuri.
you think? What do
yeah.
you think of their relationship?
I was very at first I was very curious as to like why he had such a connection, and you could see right when we get introduced to him when they're in the alley, and Bucky stops that little conflict that was going on with the other neighbor, and he's like, oh, why are you always fighting with the neighbors? So it definitely shows that they've known each other for quite some time now, and I think that's very interesting because Bucky's always been more of like a lone wolf kind of guy, so for him to have somebody in his life that's been consistent, I guess, that we can assume has been consistent, is pretty important. And then like you find out later in the episode as to why he's so close to that old man, and I think that is just that's a huge yeah, I mean, it's a foreshadow, and it's also just like a plot I'm looking forward to seeing. There we go.
It doesn't seem too like it's not a natural friendship because it's definitely just from his guilt and how he's like he just
Mhm.
wants to make up for what he did. But and no, he's heard it many times on camera. They're like, that wasn't you, like your past, like you have no control over that. But he still, at the end of the day, he's like, my physical being has caused so much damage. He actually is free, which is a good thing to note. He did get the excuse for everything he's done in the past,
Yeah, he got
but
pardoned. That's crazy.
yeah, but he's not free mentally, and
Mhm.
So we
that's
are
more.
referencing the death of Yori's son, right? By the hands of the
Yes.
Winter Soldier while he was under
Yes.
control.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And he clearly wants help, and they haven't told us yet whether he's gone to therapy on his own will or if it's forced, but he definitely is looking to fix it. He's not letting them in at the same time, like, oh no, I'm not having nightmares still.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I'll make my amends, and he's lying at how he's doing it. Like he's like, yeah, I'll say sorry, no one's getting hurt. He's still
Mhm.
kicking ass.
Yeah, those 3 steps that are given to him by the
Yeah.
Yeah,
therapist.
that was a good
Those,
cutaway. I
yeah, that was
think
pretty funny.
I think it is part of his pardon. I think she says that, part of the plea was that he would go to therapy. So he
Oh,
definitely
maybe,
doesn't
yeah.
have a choice. I don't think he has a choice. So that is an interesting.
He definitely does want to go there, and it is nice to see, like, well, not nice to see again, but it's interesting to see like the mental struggles and like how they want to fix it. Like
Mhm.
again, he like these superheroes that we all love so much, like it takes a toll on them.
One of the things I really like about this series is that it focuses more so on 2 kind of normal people. They're not really like
Hmm.
super powered, but it's more so like the tech that they possess. So it's a nice like stray away from what we're
Yeah.
used to with actual like superpowers. But
Mhm.
it's cool to see what like these 2 normal kind of humans are capable of.
So we're clearly going to see like a newfound friendship and partnership with these two built over the next 6 episodes of this. They don't have the best past from the movies, but like they're gonna hopefully get some good chemistry going on. What do you guys want to see with that? Like, how do you feel about this moving forward between Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
So I mean, I kind of see like their relationship as like 2 brothers pretty much who always kind of get on each other's nerves, but at the end of the day, like they love each other and stuff. And I mean, you can see that throughout the past movies. The first one I think of is when in Civil War they ride with
Mhm.
Captain America to go see Agent 13, and then they're just kind of they cut away to them in the car, and Bucky's like, "Can you move your seat up?" And Sam's like, "No," and then you just see him kind of like slide to get more
Yeah, yeah,
leverage.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
and then I know there was some clips that they released as like teasers where you see them kind of going back and forth at each other. So I think
The airplane
I think
scene. I hate you.
yeah. See, it's like one of those relationships that like
Yeah.
even in close friend groups, where you just kind of mess around with each other. So I think that's just who they are, and it kind of brings some comedic relief to the whole seriousness of the events happening around them.
I'm definitely excited to see them together. One, I want to see them fighting side by side, but it is nice that they do have a past little friendship, where they kind of just tease each other a lot, and I think it's important. They're both obviously 2 of Cap's closest friends, and with the situation as to his like legacy moving on, who's going to carry the torch. I'm really glad that these 2 are the ones that Marvel's really focusing on to do that.
Like with what you just said, it seems like their biggest bond is going to be missing Steve Rogers and like
Mhm.
the aftermath of what just happened in Endgame. And like the only thing they can ever really bond about is they were both blip. Their biggest connection, I would say, is Steve. And I think that's gonna like they're gonna realize like how much they need each other too, because we just talked a lot about Bucky and like he really doesn't have, and like they say it in the show in the first episode, you have no family, you have no friends, you have nothing. And even when we're looking at Sam, when his family down in Louisiana, it's like it doesn't seem like it's like the great, like it doesn't seem like it's a bad like relationship with his sister, but it's not like the most top firm one either.
They definitely butt heads. And I think
it's like if they weren't blood, like they wouldn't really care for each other type deal. Yeah. Sam is also probably seeking like some sort of relationship with another being that's, especially with Steve gone too. So I think that will help them both team up and like understand each other a lot moving forward. And I would not be surprised if we got like a brotherly heart to heart. Like we know, like Matt was just saying, they tease all like this bitter talk between each other, but we should see like hopefully a heart to heart between them.
I thought it was interesting. The therapist, when took Bucky's phone, she mentioned that he had, I think it was 6 missed calls or missed texts from Sam.
Mm-hmm.
So
true.
That's interesting that he's reached out to him.
I completely forgot to.
We'll see how soon he answers that. I want to talk about my biggest takeaway from this episode. I mean, Tony Stark's a dick. That's my biggest takeaway from this episode. Think about this. You had Sam begging on his knees at a bank for a loan because he never got paid for a minute of his time in the Avengers. You would think a man with Tony Stark's money would have a 401k plan set up for the Avengers or a Roth IRA account.
Instead, it's just like a charity case, It's like, people, if they feel so obliged, they can throw us like a couple dollars. But
and even humanity, like, thanks, like they just brought you all back, but you can't give him a fucking loan for his family business. So like,
this dude's like taking selfies. He's like,
he literally said,
he's like, yo, man, thanks for the clout, but I'm gonna have to deny your loan. One scene that I thought was also important during that that little mob thing when Sam's
Lieutenant Torres
guy, he pretended to kind of be a part of the Flag Smashers, and then he finds like the main guy kind of pulls out his gun and he gets the living shit kicked out of him, but it was like kind of supernatural, it wasn't like a normal beatdown. It looked like that guy had some enhanced.
He kicked someone like 30 yards,
right? He had some enhanced, right? So
yeah.
That's something we can speculate kind of going forward, like who may that be. I think we know like the main villain of the series, who he's going to be based on the trailers and stuff. So Baron Zemo,
on Bucky's list. Yep.
Right. Baron Zemo, exactly. So he is on Bucky's list. We all know him from Civil War. He was kind of the whole mastermind behind framing Bucky as the terrorist who blew up the building that the King of Wakanda was in. T'Challa's dad, obviously.
Almost like the United Nations of...
Right. Yes, the UN, pretty much. So that scene was interesting. So going forward, I don't think it is Baron Zemo, because he's not really super powered. He's just mainly like, it's all smarts and he's very smart. Planning ahead. I can't wait to see him. That should be very interesting to see what he does, pulling the strings from behind the scenes and stuff.
He's probably like the most interesting non-supernatural, or at least one of them, characters.
For sure.
I think, especially for villain. Well, most villains, like it's nice to see a villain that has like 0 powers or like doesn't even get in the suit or anything. Like holds a gun once, but like and like how much chaos. Yeah, how much chaos he caused.
He started the whole Civil War, and it's like turned people against each other. Like you said,
people against each other.
Right, like you said, tearing down a group from within,
So something I'm curious about is kind of referencing like, Tony, like what did he leave? Like we haven't seen anything yet with like the Avengers compound. So like what's going, like I want to know what goes moving forward there. So yeah, like it seems like they're all kind of like, besides like you said, Sam was reaching out to Bucky, but Bucky didn't return the calls. So it seems like a lot of the heroes aren't really like connecting with each other post Endgame at the moment. Yeah, so that's kind of interesting too.
Yeah, I think that works well for the Marvel timelines.
Kind of going along the line of Bucky's nightmares and stuff. It kind of drew another parallel from Civil War when Iron Man asked Bucky, it's like when he finds out he killed his parents, he was like, "Do you even remember them?" And then Bucky was like, "I remember them all." So I just thought that was like another kind of like
a deep question. Yeah.
Crazy kind of mind thing
Mhm.
where it's like, he's been suffering all this time. But
Yeah.
I just thought that was really cool, like the parallel.
Yeah, no, that's painful.
We got almost everything that we want to talk about besides that little cliffhanger at the end. So what did you guys think about that? It feels weird to see someone else in a Captain America suit, first of all, especially when they tease at us for it to be like Falcon or perhaps even Bucky. But so what do you guys feel about that little ending right there?
It definitely caught me off guard. Like you said, it feels really weird seeing someone else in his, stripes, and especially after, Falcon passed up on the opportunity, and he pretty much wanted it to be in the Smithsonian. That would have been
And
a
how they
cool
applauded
moment.
him for that. They're like, that's the right
Yeah.
move to do.
Yeah, and then everyone
And then,
cheers for the new Cap, and I mean,
Mhm.
he kind of just looks like a tool.
Racist.
I don't, I don't know too much about him, but I do remember there are some comics where someone
Mhm.
really tries to be the next, Captain America.
Mhm.
I'm interested. I hope Bucky or Sam kick his ass at least once, or
Oh,
they can do it multiple times.
I'll
But
personally do it.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, exactly.
you notice how like the suit's modified? Like this dude's not built enough. He can't fit in
No,
that.
yeah,
No one has
bumpy
those
ass
Chris
face.
Evans specs.
Yeah, so going off that, Sam had his internal struggles, kind of saying like, Steve kind of gave this to me, but it doesn't feel like it's mine. It feels like it's someone else's. So he couldn't really truly embrace that mantle of being the next Cap. So I mean, he did what he thought was right, which was giving it away. But then, the government being as shady as they are, but the experiments that they're running, they obviously give it to this new person who is taking over because, the people need another new symbol of hope and stuff like that. So they give it to this guy, calling him the next Captain America. I think the direction that they're leaning in is a character in the comics called U.S. Agent, so U.S. and then Agent. So it's like supposed to be my friend Aaron. He referred to him as like the Diet Captain America.
The Wish
so,
version.
right. Well, yeah, price right version of. So I think it's definitely going to hit Sam hard that what he did and Cap's honor was kind of thrown back in his face. I don't think U.S. Agent is going to be seen as the bad guy. It's just something that I don't think Sam and Bucky aren't going to be able to kind of come to terms with right away.
That kind of parallels Peter Parker giving Edith to Mysterio. Like in the moment, it felt right. Like ooh, like even though this was handed down to me from my successor, like I'm not ready for it. I don't deserve it. And like look what happened for Peter. So it's probably gonna explode in Falcon and Bucky's face moving forward.
It's time for our favorite segment, Cap or No Cap. I'll kick it off. My first Cap or No Cap question is going to be: do we think Bucky confronts the old man and tells him about what he did to his son? We're gonna hold on.
Nope.
We're gonna keep record to see who's right and wrong for it going forward this season.
Okay.
We can
I
tell
like
it.
There we go. I'm going to say no Cap. Meaning like I think it is going to happen.
Mhm.
I just think that's going to be his very last name that he kind of comes across. That kind of final weight off of his shoulders. It's something that he's definitely going to struggle with because this man is so close to him and is there for him in his time of loneliness, and even hooked him up with a date with the bartender from the restaurant. But that's the thing that's eating away at him. It's the only nightmare that we really see him have so far. If they continually, show Yori's son being killed by the Winter Soldier, then it's just going to keep eating away until he can't hold it in.
I'm also going no Cap. You can see he felt it in the moment right there. She convinced him, but he was like so ready to just let it all out. But he panicked in the moment. He just said, "Oh, I forgot to give you lunch money." No, I think him moving forward in character development, all that good stuff, he needs it more. Just for his conscience too. Like you can see how it's eating Yuri alive. He doesn't really know, and that's a big conflict for him. But at the end of the day, weight off both their shoulders, as tragic as it is.
I'm also going to go no Cap. I believe it'll, like Matt said, be the last name he crosses off the list, at least the last name we see this season. And I think the old man won't forgive him for what he did. And it's just going to be almost symbolic of what happens, throughout Bucky's entire life. He really has nobody there for him. So,
yeah. Okay.
It's deep.
Yeah. Way to break our hearts.
It's going to be tragic, It's unfortunate.
For my cap or no cap, I believe at the end of this all, the mantle of Captain America will go to out of Bucky or Sam. I think it's going to go to Sam, and he's going to finally embrace it. Is Sam going to be the next Captain America, cap or no cap? Or Sam is going to be the next Captain America, cap or no cap?
I'm going to say it's no cap. Like, I think Sam will be the next Captain America. And I thought, it's a good point. How he turned it down in the first, what did he do? In the first, 10, 15 minutes of the episode, he turned it down. And I think once they, confront the new captain, I'm sure that guy's going to give up the suit. I think it'll be Sam that winds up filling his shoes. I think they were a little closer than him and Bucky, at least in this lifetime. I feel like in his past lifetime, he was closer with Bucky. So I just think it's important for the Captain America figure moving forward that it goes to Sam.
I'm also going no cap. Sam is definitely the more patriotic of the two, and Bucky, as we're saying with his trauma, he'll never he doesn't even want it. He won't be able to stomach being that figure. It's also important to note that this character that we saw a lot of in the pilot episode, Lieutenant Torres, he in the comics eventually does embrace the Falcon image.
Yeah.
So, if there's going to be a new Falcon, there needs to be a new Cap. And I think, Sam Wilson embodies patriotism. And this is really going to be his coming of age story now of him feeling that I do deserve this weight on my shoulders. I've earned it. He just doesn't realize it yet.
In the first Captain America movie, I think it was one of the generals. He said he's talking to Cap one-on-one in his room, and he says he's a good man, and he does that right before he gets the super soldier serum, which leads him to becoming Captain America. And in the end game, right before Captain America travels back in time, he tells Sam, you're a good man. So I think that also leans towards Sam being the next Captain America. My
cap or no cap is literally cap or no cap. Will we see that Joe Biden looking ass Steve Rogers 6 episodes? Because they just say he's gone, but there's no reference to a funeral or anything. Yeah. In any shape or form. So in any shape or form.
Could be on the moon.
Besides, he could be there. Besides the posters and shit in the museum, we see will we see an inhuman form version of Steve Rogers?
I'm gonna say Cap, mostly because as much as I would love for him to still be alive, based on context clues I guess they've given us so far, it kind of feels like that big announcement they had for him at the beginning was more of a memorial service and more a tribute to him. I kind of feel like he's dead. The last time we saw him, he was really, really old. It has been 6 months, so you never really know what could happen in 6 months. But yeah, I'm going to say Cap. We don't see him.
I'm going to say no cap. I think the only people who know of his existence are the people who witnessed the ending of Endgame, obviously. So they know, Steve Rogers in his youth, as he's known as Captain America, is gone. However, you have old man Steve kind of living out his life as he comes back from returning all the Infinity Stones. So, like you said, Tim, there were people kind of asking oh, is this guy, out of the picture? Is he retired? And they don't really fully answer it. So I definitely think by the end of the season, if any, it'll be a brief moment of old man Steve.
I'm going no cap as well, because I think there needs to be a motivational speech or some motivational words from Steve Rogers to Sam for him to embody that, to embody what you want or what we just said for him to be the new Captain America. I feel like that Endgame, he needs more clarity. He needs more push. Let's knock out a Would You Rather. So far, 2 MCU series have been introduced. Both had duos. We had Wanda and Vision. We have Bucky and Sam. So there's some shows that haven't been announced, but if there were to be some more duo shows to be released, would you rather see a Groot and Rocket show or a Korg and Meek show?
Jesus. The first thing that popped into my head was definitely Groot and Rocket, I think. Even though Groot says a whole 3 words, I think Bradley Cooper as Rocket is one of the best castings he could have that could have been done. So I love Rocket, and I think they're pure comedy together. So I'd definitely go with them.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. Groot and Rocket. I mean, they're on screen time together has just been top tier throughout the entire DC universe. So yeah, I think it would be comedy, and I mean, I could hear "I am Groot" 500 million times, and I don't even think of it. So,
Bro, Guardians 1 at the end, man, almost made me cry, bro.
Yeah,
oh my
That
god,
shit,
yeah, when he
it's
goes, "I
emotional.
am Groot."
when you just hearing Rocket get like emotional, he's like, "Don't,
Yeah,
you'll die." And
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
I
his fan
definitely.
burned so much. Like,
I would love to see like their past adventures together. What bonded them as friends. So I think that's a sweep of. It was hard to find another duo, but I feel like Korg and Meek are like a meme that a lot of people do actually love, and I
yeah,
would
yeah.
not mind seeing them get some time either. But
I
and plus there is a lot of Bucky. Oh, not, oh my God, Rocket and Groot so far. But
hmm
I agree, you can never have enough.
my would you rather kind of plays off Matt's cap or no cap. I was gonna say, who would you rather see hold the shield at the end of the show, Sam or Bucky? You know, if you had
Pineapple.
creative power, who would you choose?
I mean, I think just very simply Sam. Just because, like, for all the reasons we just basically said for Cap or no Cap, I think he's the symbol. He deserves it, and he'll embrace it proudly, chest up, head high.
So
Matt?
yeah, I know. Obviously, in the comics, like I believe they both kind of have the mantle at one point. But honestly, I think I'd prefer to see Bucky. I think that just kind of throws it back to how they're both these super soldiers.
Mhm.
They were in the war together, best of friends. Till the end of the line. I'm with you till the end of the line.
Mhm.
Throwing it back to the whole fight scene, in the Winter Soldier.
Mhm.
Just like the chemistry and how that whole fight sequence was just kind of surreal, and you kind of get to see him throw the shield and stuff, and or
Mhm.
just the way he catches it. It
Catch
was
it,
just like,
yeah.
yeah, he was just so
Mhm.
badass in the Winter Soldier. So, I mean, if he's able to kind of, they're both trying to get past this internal conflict, like of not being good enough. If he were to get past that, I think
Mm,
he would be
he has the bigger
a good
climb.
cap.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
I think
lot of vibranium right there.
yeah, dude. That's what I was
Yeah,
gonna say. I purely my vote would be Bucky just for the
Mm,
vibranium arm, vibranium shield. I would hope he'd wear it on his
yeah,
opposite hand. He'd be like impenetrable.
right.
mm,
For the pure action aspect of it,
yeah.
I think
I would
Bucky would
just
really do
still
it.
hold my claim for Sam just for patriotism, as
Yeah.
stated before.
Thank you guys for tuning into the first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Um, Again, week by week, we're gonna keep going with this one. It's nice to be able to start this one from the very first episode.
Mm.
Very
Mhm.
excited to see where the next 5 episodes go. Um, but yeah, if you guys have been watching and supporting us, we appreciate you. Again, any comments or critiques, we're always open to hear them. But until next Friday, we will see you guys.
Peace.